Hi everybody, Mitch here. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk about your digital devices and traveling. We're seeing that the government is demanding to look at the digital devices as people come into the country. And it's still a small percentage of people, but it sort of depends on where you fit in the paranoia list as to how you want to handle this or not. So here's some thoughts about that. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution requires that the government have a reasonable suspicion before they search your stuff, your person, your house, your content, whatever. There actually is an exception in the Constitution for the Customs and Border Protection to search devices and your luggage, and they're kind of, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but it is what it is. They're saying your device is kind of just like your luggage, and they're looking for contraband, which is what they claim. So the way the law works is if you are a U.S. citizen, they cannot deny you entry in the country if you say no, you can't look at my device, but they can keep the device. So you have to decide which is more important to you. On the other hand, if you're not a citizen, even if you're like a green card holder, and you say no, then they can put you back on the next plane, make you pay for the ticket, and send you back to where you came from. So for non-citizens, this is a much bigger issue. But as I said, these searches are happening more often, and so it's worthwhile at least understanding what you got. And and make a decision of what you want to do. So, will customs agents search your phone? It kind of depends. They don't need to have any rhyme or reason to it. And it could be something as simple as every 10th person they do that. There's two flavors of a search. One is just a basic search where a human being goes off and looks through it and looks for anything that they deem suspicious. And the other is a more advanced search where they give it to a forensics person, and that forensics person goes off and looks at it more differently. So, what are they looking for? Well, they're looking for anything that they say is a national security concern, whatever that means. Again, an undefined term. If your device is seized, ask for a receipt. That's always a good thing to do. On the other hand, when you get it back, my personal opinion is the only thing I would do is take it out to the driveway, run it over a couple of times with your car, and you can't throw it in the garbage because it's electronics, but you can take it to the nearest recycling center and recycle it, because no telling what they did to the device. I certainly wouldn't trust it. So given that, what can you do to reduce the exposure? So, and obviously you might have trade secrets on there. You might have government sensitive information like controlled unclassified information, which is perfectly legal. You could conceivably have classified information, although that's pretty unlikely because the rules about that are much stricter. If you have that, you should talk to your facility security officer, because that's a whole other can of worms in terms of letting them go look at the computer if it has classified information on it. So number one thing to do would be to log out of all of your online accounts, whether it's Facebook or Dropbox or whatever. Just log out of it and make sure that the passwords are not stored inside the phone or the computer, so when they go to that app, it just automatically opens. In theory, they're not supposed to look at cloud-based data, but we know about theories. Next thing is back up your computer and phone. And there's one way, if you don't want to risk the data being exposed when you cross the border, back up the data to the cloud before you cross the border, delete it off your phone. After you're on the other side of the border, you can download the data again and reverse that process when you come back. deep clean your device. That means remove the apps that you don't want the border agent to ask you about. Clear your browsing history, delete your chat log, and all this depends on your level of nervousness about the government and how intrusive you think they are and stuff like that. Clear your messages. If you use a secure messaging app like Signal, remove yourself. Actually, you could just delete the app, because as long as you know what your password is, later you can just add it back and everything will still be there. You disable biometric unlocks. That's a good thing, because while they can't force you to give them a password, they can force you to look at the phone to unlock it or put your finger on the screen or whatever. Some devices have some interesting data protection modes, both Android and iOS. That might be a way to go do that. That's kind of the things that you can do. And you can always take a burner phone. That's an option. Or a burner computer. A lot of large companies actually demand that you do that. They don't give you any other option. And it's because of the risk that represents. So, and obviously the risk is not only from Customs and Border, but if you go to another country, their intelligence services, or for that matter, just crooks, might steal your phone or computer, and the less stuff you have over there, the less risk there is. So if you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. We may or may not be able to help every individual, but this is just help you become a little bit more educated. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay safe.